What even is schnapps? And yes, it's pronounced schnapps, not schnapps. Yeah, schnapps. Yeah, schnapps and Baileys. Yeah. Bad American impersonations aside, schnapps is a broad term for essentially any flavored hard liquor. This could include fancy schmancy stuff like brandy, which is essentially distilled grape wine, so wine, classic wine, run through a still, concentrated via a still. Or schnapps can be derived from a neutral spirit that has had botanicals soaking in it that extracts the flavor, which then becomes imbued inside that spirit, like essentially getting a really hard vodka of sorts, or a neutral spirit like Everclear, which is hard to get in Australia, or basically something that's very, very high ethanol. Then you soak a bunch of shit in there, and then you get shit schnapps. So a lot of schnapps, especially here in Australia, is used as a mixer, like butterscotch schnapps, which is probably just using some sort of concentrate, not actual butterscotch. But traditional schnapps made in this particular way would be you get a neutral spirit, so very, very high proof alcohol, and you'd soak whatever you want in there. So if you want to make apple schnapps or Apfelschnaps, you would get a whole bunch of apples, throw it in your hard spirit, seal that shit off, let it sit for a while, strain it, and all those flavors will leach out. Similar to how whiskey makers will put their whiskey in an oak barrel, also rum and various other things, and over time that hard ethanol will suck out some of that woody flavor. Then if you get like old sherry casks, you get some of that sherry flavor in there. Schnapps is essentially the same thing, but usually with botanicals like fruit or herbs or nuts. In this video, I'm going to be making sunflower schnapps using sunflower petals and sunflower seed using this method. So you're getting a high proof spirit and having that spirit extract whatever flavors come out of it. The more traditional way of making schnapps, however, is to actually distill the fermented whatever. So let's say we're doing an Apfelschnaps. You can get your apples, you turn them to liquor by adding yeast and water, whatever. So essentially you're making an apple wine or a hard apple cider. Then you run that through the still, and what comes out is your schnapps. You can vapor infuse or add other things to it, but this is a more traditional way. If you want to see us making a more traditional schnapps in this method, check out this video. Here I am at my friend Ben's distillery, Off Grid Rum Co. here in the Adelaide Hills. He's a licensed distiller, so everything we're doing is 100% legal. Basically, we can do whatever we want as long as we pay taxes. Okay, we make strawberry schnapps in this traditional method. In this video, I'm going to use the more legal method because you don't need a liquor license to do this. You just go to the shop, buy some hard proofed alcohol, essentially a vodka, throw your shit in there, let it sit for a while, strain it, and baby, you got a schnapps going. If you can't get really high proof stuff, which is kind of hard in Australia, you could just use a vodka, but the lower the proof of the alcohol, the longer it's going to take to suck those flavors out. So get your hands on something nasty, chuck it in there for a couple of weeks, baby, you got yourself a schnapps. In Germany, however, where the name schnapps derives from, this is where we get the term, schnapps refers to pretty much any hard, dry liquor, not necessarily the things I've just discussed. The term schnapps stems from Low German and is related to the term schnappen, which means to snap, as in snapping one back. So basically, a short slug from a short glass, a shot glass, shot back is schnapps. So to shoot, to snap, schnappen, schnapps. So basically, schnapps can be whatever the bloody hell you want it to be, as long as it's relatively dry, very strong, and taken via a shot glass like the dirty little red-faced alcoholic that you are. Hey, don't judge me. Look at me going to town on these sunflowers here. I like a shot just like anyone else, but you know what you are, and I absolutely love you for it. Right, so let's make some sunflower schnapps.
Intoxicate myself through all this shit. Tap back a glass of something deep and rich. We could move through this together if you wish.
The rock rose and the thistle. Alrighty. How you bloody doing, you cobber? Now, the reason we crush those seeds is because we want the alcohol to soak in, because there's actually husks on the outside of this. and the delicious sunflower seed is on the inside of that. My prediction is that because I moved to the leafy stuff, you're going to get a lot of that grassiness gone, but the husks are going to provide a earthy woodiness, not like oak, but something akin to that. Now, the next step is, oh my giddy aunt, these are dried sunflower leaves. There are only certain types of petals, flower petals, that actually leach color. I've done several meads before, and when you use extremely hard liquor, it bleaches them. It actually removes that color as opposed to having that color seep through. I think we're gonna get some color from the husks, so I think it's gonna end up like a brownie sort of looking color. I don't think it's gonna end up yellow. That's quite pretty. You know what, I reckon if you put a couple of sticks in there, that's something that somebody would have on their toilet. You know, when you go to like your rich friend's house and they've always got like a jar with fucking beads in it and sticks coming out of it. Kind of looks like that. Just a quick shout out to my boy Ben, as we call him Ben Buccaneer. I don't know if he knows that we call him that. OG Rum, Off Grid Rum Co. Check out our rum videos, distilling videos. We've got a lot more distilling coming up. He handcrafted this rum especially for this project. Well, for me, knowing that I'm going to do a bunch of random projects with it. So this is actually a very, very high proof alcohol. Now the idea here is the higher, it's a rum based, but the idea here is that the higher the proof, the more leaching you're going to get. This is why in the whiskey world and the rum world or whatever, when you're putting stuff into oak casks to age it, you generally want to put it in at a higher proof, because the higher the ethanol, the more of that flavor, the quicker it's going to seep into or brew into your rum or whiskey or whatever it is you're putting in there. The lower the proof, the longer it takes to brew any sort of flavor in there. So I'm using very, very high proof stuff to add to this, because that way I can keep it in here for a less amount of time and get that flavor. And it's also more efficient. And then I can water this down, or proof it down as they say, later on to a drinking sort of level of alcohol. So cheers to my boy Ben. Make sure you subscribe so you can see all our distilling. Exploits, I was going to say.
Learning to make schnapps is quite a mighty gift. Take schnapps with you when you die. I'll take schnapps with me when I die.
So I didn't catch this on camera before, but I actually added a little bit of charcoal on there. So this is the same sort of charcoal. This is oak from an old wine barrel that I got from the distillery, and that's been in there for about 4 days. So not much, because it's very, very small volume. Oh, look at that. Bang on 200. It's going to be really easy to proof down. Again, this is just an experiment, so whatever, bruh. It's got some funk in there for sure. Oh well. So yeah, it's a little bit grassy, woody. Needs to be filtered a little bit, even just through a cheesecloth maybe. And I think, like most things, there's absolutely no substitute for old Mother Time. Hi. She's a full-figured girl, but she's a good mistress for most of us. Although, she will eventually betray us all. Bitch. Yeah, I think I'll use a neutral spirit, not a rum-based thing in the future. Otherwise, it's not the worst thing I've ever shoved down my throat. I've been Jacob, you've been watching Choo. Check out our playlist, our homebrewing playlist, check out all our other fun stuff. And I'll see you lovely people in the next video. Cheers. Whoa, so red. Why so red all the time? So red. Whoa. Whoa! It's so fucking red! I'm gonna have to do some mad color correction on that. Fuck me, I don't even know how to do that, I just know the words. Color correction. Like I fucking know what I'm doing in these videos. Gee fucking zers. Look how red that is! Why am I so red? It's like farts in here.